The horizon was a flat line of fading gold. Sandy stood on the highest dune, her gaze locked on the shimmering distance where the heat haze finally surrendered to the cool of evening. Then, the sky fractured. A jagged streak of white light tore through the purple canopy, descending with terrifying speed behind the great ridge. It struck the earth with a dull, subterranean thud that vibrated through the sand and into her hooves. She did not flinch, but her ears swiveled toward the impact site. Rafi darted from behind a cluster of scrub, his paws kicking up dust as he circled her, his tail twitching in frantic, rhythmic bursts. "It landed there," Sandy said, her voice steady against the rising wind. She pointed toward the dark silhouette of the jagged peaks. Rafi stopped his pacing, his snout twitching. "We leave at sunrise," he chirped, his eyes wide with the reflection of the fading sky. They moved to the base of the ridge to gather supplies. Sandy cleared a flat patch of ground, and together they packed a satchel with dried dates and a skin of water. The desert air grew sharp, but the weight of the unknown adventure made the cold feel distant. They watched the stars emerge, waiting for the first light to signal the start of the trek. By midday, the sun turned the dunes into a furnace. Every step became a test of endurance, the sand shifting underfoot like molten glass. Rafi trotted in the shade of the larger animal, his tongue lolling when a faint, rhythmic scratching caught his ears. They diverted toward a deep, narrow rut carved by a past storm. A desert tortoise lay wedged at the bottom, his limbs clawing fruitlessly at the packed earth. He wheezed as they approached, his head drooping. "I cannot reach the oasis," he rasped. Sandy did not hesitate. She knelt, pressing her weight into the slope until her back was level with the ground. The tortoise scrambled up the bank and hauled himself onto her back, his weight a heavy, grounding anchor. Sandy rose, her joints protesting the strain, and set a steady pace toward the green smudge on the horizon. 3 miles of undulating heat lay between them and the water. She walked until the scent of moisture replaced the dry grit of the dunes. At the edge of the pool, the tortoise slid into the cool water. He paddled to the center, turned, and pointed a single claw toward a distant, swaying silhouette. "Follow the tallest palm tree," he directed, his voice clear. They had their lead. The sky curdled into a bruised, sickly purple. Sandy stopped, her ears folding flat against the sudden, sharp drop in pressure. The horizon vanished, swallowed by a wall of sand that rose like a mountain and roared with the fury of a trapped beast. Rafi darted forward, his nose twitching at the static charged air. "Hide," he yelled, but his voice was shredded by the rising gale. A gust hit them with the force of a falling boulder, driving sand into their eyes and scouring their skin. They scrambled blindly, stumbling over uneven rock as the world turned into a swirling beige void. Sandy felt Rafi slip from her side, his small frame buffeted by the wind, and she lunged, grabbing him by the scruff to pull him close. They found a narrow, jagged fissure behind a slab of granite. They wedged themselves into the dark, cramped space, pressing their bodies against the cold stone. Outside, the desert screamed. The wind clawed at the entrance, trying to tear them from their sanctuary. Inside, the air was still and thick with the smell of crushed rock. They did not move, listening to the relentless, thunderous lashing of the storm against the cliff face, waiting for the fury to pass. The howling ceased as abruptly as it had begun. Silence rushed into the crevice, heavy and absolute. Sandy nudged the granite slab, pushing it aside to reveal a landscape altered by the fury of the gale. Where dunes had once rolled, a path of smooth, gray stone now lay exposed, leading directly toward a narrow canyon entrance. They stepped out, their hooves and paws clicking against the solid ground. Inside the gorge, the air changed. It lost the metallic tang of the storm and grew cool, still, and impossibly quiet. In the center of the clearing, a crystal star hovered inches above the earth, pulsing with a faint, rhythmic light that matched the beat of a steady heart. Sandy moved toward it. As she drew near, the crystal flared, casting a brilliant golden glow that rippled across the canyon floor. The light washed over the dry, cracked rocks, and the reaction was instantaneous. Where the gold touched, the earth cracked open to release vibrant, blooming flowers. Birds, silent until this moment, shook dust from their wings and emerged from the cliffside crevices. The entire canyon floor surged with color and sound, shaking off the long dormancy of the desert as the valley woke to life. The owl descended from the jagged cliff, his wingspan wide and silent. He landed on a stone pedestal near the pulsing star. "The crystal does not respond to power," the owl hooted, his amber eyes fixed on the pair. "It responds to the heart. Kindness acted as your map through the storm." Sandy and Rafi stood in the center of the blossoming valley, watching the vibrant petals sway in the stillness. The brilliant glow began to soften, fading into the natural hues of the rock, but the warmth remained, soaking into their skin like sunlight. They did not attempt to carry the crystal away. Its power was not meant for a satchel. They turned back toward the canyon entrance, their pace slow and deliberate. As they trekked back across the dunes, the desert felt different, less like a barrier and more like a home. Every footprint they left seemed to carry the memory of the light. Back in the village, the other animals gathered to hear their tale. They spoke of the star, but they spoke more of the path they had walked to find it. Now, whenever a star falls, the desert animals look up and remember that the longest journeys are measured not in miles, but in the help they offer to those who cannot walk alone.